I'm Fred Oduyoye, and I want to give a shout out to you, the urban youth worker. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, but I grew up in Columbia, Maryland. Columbia was a planned community. It was intentionally set up so that different people and populations could intentionally crash into one another. People of color, that could be Black, Hispanic, Asian, and then also upper class, middle class, lower class, just so that they could live side by side in neighborhoods and learn about each other. My dad's from Nigeria, and he used to always say, "Son, this is not the real world." But I didn't know any better. And so I thought that people should care about other people. And I've learned that people have a difficult time connecting with other people. I just believe that it's important for you and I to show people that we care, that who you are and what you do matters. It's great in the book of Genesis. God sets it up beautifully as we read in the scriptures, the Imago Dei. The Bible lets us know that God said, "Let us make man." So here you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, a community putting the structure together of humanity. We were made by community so that you and I could learn how to be in community. That's a beautiful thing. Here's the trick though. We may not always be able to lead by the scriptures. We may have to lead by being a reflection of who God is. As a person of color, there's a Black man who's somewhat articulate, has some charisma, and cares about people, I would end up in all these multicultural spaces. And so I would end up in racial reconciliation dialogues and forums and settings. And it would bother me because there never seemed to be any execution behind it. People wouldn't want to change systems or programs or structures. They just wanted to have the moment and be done with it. It reminds me of a time when, there was one time when a church, a mega church in Cincinnati, the senior pastor gave me a call. And he said, "Hey, Fred, it's Black History Month, and I'd love for you to come and share with me at all our services." He said, "I don't know what a white pastor would say to an all-white congregation, but I feel like if you're on the platform with me, we could have a dialogue on stage and have a conversation, and it would just be a great moment." So I said, sure. So they have a Saturday night service and 3 Sunday services. Opening night, Saturday night. We are sitting on bar stools on the main stage. We're having a very safe conversation. And towards the end of the service, just when we're about to end the dialogue, he looks at me with the microphone. He said, "I want to thank you for coming today." He said, "But one more thing. Fred, I want to apologize to you. I want to apologize for everything that my people have done to your people." And I said, "Thank you." Now here's the catch. An hour later, when I was back home, he called me up and said, "How do you think service went?" And of course I gave the safe answer. Thought it went great. He said, "So did I." He said, "But there was one point that bothered me a little bit, as well as the elders, and we had a conversation about it, and I wanted to mention it to you." I said, "What's that?" He said, "You remember when I apologized to you?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, we were all wondering why you didn't apologize back." And there, my friend, is where we are. The white mainstream culture has the opportunity to pick up the conversation of race and color and then drop it at their convenience whenever they're ready. But those of us who are urban, those of us who are people of color, you and I have to manage multiple spaces while we try to coexist in multiple cultures. And that's where it becomes tricky. I would say this. I got on my knees and I said, God, I need something different. Racial reconciliation, it can't be about that alone because we've got to move further down the road. God said, Fred, talk about reachable reconciliation. Help other people know that who you are and what you do matters. If we could do a better job managing the people that are within our reach, that means not only race and color, but the handicapped, the elderly, the introverts, those that have disabilities. If we could do a better job managing the people that are right in front of us and right in our neighborhood and within our reach, then we have a better opportunity of setting each other up for the long-term win of being able to interlock in a greater community. So here's where you can help. As a person of color or not, as a youth worker, youth pastor, volunteer, whatever space you manage, here's what you can help do. Can you be a pioneer that will help people have the conversations that they would not normally have? People are intimidated about talking about real stuff. And you and I are designed. God has put his hand on you so that you can explore that space so that people can feel comfortable learning how to interact with somebody that they wouldn't normally interact with. Here's the deal. It's not always a racism issue. Many times it's because it's just a person's natural tendencies based on their historical environments and upbringing. And so people just act out naturally what they're used to based on their upbringing. So here's what I would ask from you. 4 words. If you could apply these 4 words in your spaces and figure out how to keep people engaged, then we're going to have a better opportunity at limiting some of the tragedies that we see from isolation of people in shootings and in school tragedies, because you're going to be the one that's going to invest the time. Number 1, awareness. Can we help people understand that it's important to acknowledge that everybody is in the room? Let's not leave anyone isolated. Number 2, listening. Mainstream culture and or dominant people tend to carry the conversation. Can you be a person that helps level it out so that maybe you can listen to make room for others to be able to contribute so that they feel like they're included? Number 3, sensitivity. Sometimes the heart is right, but the mouth isn't. Somebody might say to me, Fred, I don't see color when I look at you. The heart is right, but maybe the mouth isn't. Can we help others understand and learn based on your culture that the things that they may be saying may feel different to the receiver? Which is why we also say, number 4, it's the interpretation. It's not always about you as the sender, but it's as the receiver. How does that person feel based on the interaction that they've had with you at that moment? I believe that as an urban youth worker, as a person that's a believer, if you can manage the spaces in your workplace, in your homes, in your communities, with your volunteers, on your youth nights, if we can help students learn how to interact with each other better than we were able to do, and our parents and our grandparents, think of what a reconciler you will be. You know why that's even better? Because Jesus is the chief reconciler. And because Jesus is in you and I, we have the win already.